And it's not hard to lose faith in our capacity for self-government at times like these when the mob makes the worst kind of headlines and hack politicians to spew falsehoods and cynical arguments to appease its unbounded grievances. But one cannot help but question whether we're up to this task. But it's worth remembering that American self-government is designed to prevent the whims and ignorance of the mob from carrying that day. Perhaps the violent outburst on January 6th and those still to come will remind us of the wisdom that the founders held dear centuries ago. We are a republic, not a fucking democracy, and like basically not a fucking direct democracy, and we best like it either way. We've all seen the disconcerting videos of deluded Americans verbally accosting the politicians in public. And prior to the violence at the Capitol, Senator Mitt Romney of Utah was deemed a traitor by soon-to-be insurrectionists at the airport and on the plane en route to Washington. After the riot was over and Congress had certified Joe Biden's electoral college victory, politicians such as Senator dumbass Lindsey Graham, who's a Republican from South Carolina, and Representative Lou Correa, who's a Democrat from California, were angrily confronted by pumpkin tit inbreeders as they made their way home from D.C. No, it's not a democracy. This is a fucking republic. It's a republic. One man screamed at Correa, apparently unaware of the irony. As James Madison had wrote in the Federalist number 10, um, a republic is a form of government in which the scheme of representation takes place. Madison had recounted how flawed the popular government had proven historically. The instability, injustice, and confusion introduced into the public councils have, in truth, been the mortal diseases under which popular governments have everywhere perished. In lamenting the historic inability of popular governments to break and control the balance of faction, Madison had held forth a republican form of representative government as a way to square the circle, and without rebuking the basic logic of popular sovereignty, a republic should introduce a bit of reasoned reflection into the governing process, and mitigating the dangerous popular passions that dominate purely democratic systems. But for Madison, wedding the Republican form of government to the nation's extensive slice of physical territory was the antidote to the well-known vices of direct democracy. And while there would still be a danger of representatives of what they call factitious tempers and sinister designs leading their constituents astray, the hope was that the delegation of the government to a smaller number of citizens elected by the rest would refine and enlarge the public views by passing them through the medium of a chosen body of citizens, whose wisdom may best discern the true interest of their country, and whose patriotism and love of justice will be least likely to sacrifice it to temporary or partial considerations. Madison and his fellow founders gifted us this republic, but we failed to heed Ben Franklin's charge to keep it if our representatives persist in treating it like a pure democracy. Those entrusted with great political power cannot act as mere vessels of public opinion. They are tasked with leadership and with refining the views of their constituents. Voters have lives to lead, jobs to keep, and families to feed, and they are not meant to live and breathe politics. So it makes sense that their opinions on public affairs, which are while often they can be quite reasonable at heart, but they may be rather rough around the edges and misguided in certain important respects. The role of the elected representative is to harmonize in the interest and passions of its constituents with the dictates of a reason and the common good. This requires a certain independence of mind and spirit, as well as a hefty dose of prudence. In the famous words of Edmund Burke, your representative owes you, not his industry, but his judgment, and he betrays instead of serving you if he sacrifices it to your opinion. A republic basically cannot persist if our elected representatives fail to summon their requisite reason and courage to exercise judgment. The violence at the Capitol was a wake-up call, and it's a time we stopped forsaking the virtues of republicanism for the vices of direct democracy. Now, and I noticed that a lot of people have been thumbing my videos down. So the people that are thumbing my videos down are nothing more than inbreeding rednecks who don't want to hear the truth about Biden winning and everything else, and they don't like the fact that I'm working on becoming successful. So a lot of these inbreeding rednecks are just thumbing my video down and not giving it a chance. So basically, I would just ignore those people. But if you do like the video though, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Rambling Mike, and also hit the notification bell. so that you'll be notified when the new video comes out. So